Meet up. All right, last up is George. Do you like those, Andrew? All right, let's see what George had to say here. Man, your username. Uh, thanks so much for these reviews. They're really helpful. I recently realized that I enjoy the most in creating and building environments and would like to do it professionally. Can you share your thoughts on what you think is good, what is bad, what needs work, and if I should remove something from the portfolio? Also, at what level is my work compared to what is needed to get into the industry? Check blog for latest project work in progress. Okay, so right off the bat, I would remove this guy and remove this guy because your blog will be your blog post, right? Let's see here. Maybe you would remove this one as well, just because it doesn't really. This looks like it's a render. Yeah, and the materials are very odd. Let me look at your blog really fast. Oh, this is so interesting. This is like a drawn character. Wait, hang on. Let's see if it'll play. What? Dude, that's cool. Oh, wow. Okay, so you're making three-dimensional environments and you're animating a two-dimensional character on top. Oh yeah, so you're blocking it all out too. All right, cool, cool, cool. So I think, yeah, this is cool. This looks more like a personal project versus like really building in your portfolio. Uh, but you're building scenes that can be in your portfolio. You know what I mean? If I look at this one, this is actually. If I look at that, let me go through these really fast. Just gonna try and get an overall feel. Oh, see, okay. All right, I'm gonna make a comment on this one. So you've got this shot where it's just like the detail lighting, right? And this one's pretty. This one looks pretty cool. I think making the fog separate out the trees a little bit faster would be nice. But when you go to the detail lighting, this looks pretty nice. The grass is a little dark in the detail lighting, and it might be because the normals of the grass are like the actual normals of the texture, right? So if you take the normals of the geometry and point them more upwards, you're gonna get more of like a unified kind of grass lighting to the ground. Um, Now the reason I want to say this shot looks really good is like when you go up to like to this view, this is where I think it emphasizes probably where your weakest point is currently, and that's materials, specifically in the PBR range. So you've got colors that are odd feeling for like PBR, and saturation wise, they're also really, really saturated. So like when you look at this shot, this is actually stronger than the final like textured version, just because of the color choice. So making sure you're staying within like PBR ranges, and like there's a symbol here, right? Misty forest. I would not hesitate to separate the trees out if you want to keep the fog where it's at. To just separate the trees out so that they kind of go back into the fog faster. Let's play this one really quick. The other thing I would say is oh, some motion in there. So the motion's quite large, but I like the attention to detail. I can see like these little twigs are moving entirely. So making sure you're doing things on the technical side like vertex painting this spot to stay put, whereas the rest kind of receives the shader's like displacement. There's also the movement in the plants is pretty extreme. So having it maybe move less or not go as far in its movement. Compositionally, this is quite strong though. I think with this tree here, and I think if the camera was looking up a little bit more to give you a little bit more room here, you could really then focus on like this spot here. And the materials here, I wonder if that, so this is like mega scans it looks like you're using. Sometimes you'll get like these details look pretty good, but then like where it meets the ground, you can see how this goes from quite a desaturated and dark material to like very saturated. And I think really making sure that your albedos aren't too saturated is going to be important. Because this right here is quite strong. Yeah, you can see with the color here and your color here, I would just match it. Like if you're going for like physically correct, I wouldn't try and like color the wood. Holy crap. Okay. So this is probably blue because you didn't properly color correct after bringing in the textures from the scan. That's cool. You scan these. Because like basically you're seeing the blue. I think the blue is coming from the sky, right? So like the temperature of the textures. Oh, this is cool. This is great that you're planning and thinking like this. Oh man, I don't know how you can do this with a white background, but this is great that you're gathering all of your reference like that. But yeah, let me go back here. So I would remove this because you got your blog. I think when there's a new blog, it would be nice if it put a thing here, a marker, because maybe you're not following someone, right? Yeah, like I go to you, I'm not following you. But then I see like, oh, there's a new blog post. Like maybe if it was within the last, I don't know, 3 months, there's a new blog post. If I click it, then it'll count. Then I know that you're actively using your blog. I don't know if Alex is here. Hopefully he got that. But yeah, this is actually, I think, your strongest piece. Just because the surfaces are really, this is Blender too. Yeah, boy. There's a lot of materials going on in here, and you're depicting them pretty well. There's some weird seams and stuff like this. Maybe those are separate trays. I'm not sure. And then this material feels a little odd. Nice. From a distance, this works. But the overall presentation, like in the first image, this looks pretty good. This one's also kind of suffering from like where you can tell it's geometry. And so making sure that you're either adding bevels or kind of like trying to find ways to soften hard edges and avoid things looking like geometry is going to be important. Like with this edge here, right? You have your ground and then you have this edge. You could probably, let's go back up to the help scene. So if I'm just gonna grab this and we'll just pull this out here. And I'll dupe this off, separate it. So if you have this edge, right, kind of like you right here, let me just bring this out a little bit further. We'll bring this up. So right off of the bat, you have this edge, which is quite harsh Let's add the cavity so you can see the edge of it. So you can take this edge, and it's totally okay to bevel something like that, right? And then to take it even further, you can cut this up. Maybe even take this edge and do this. And maybe we'll snap these down so we can keep our poly counts a little under control. Oh, hang on here. Oh, I see what's happening. It's because of the... We're fine. This is fine. All right. So now we have these edges, right? So you can go in and change the direction of these slightly or bend things around just to break up that edge. It can be really subtle or it can be pretty extreme. Just to get some breakup. The other thing to think about too is because you have stuff like that, you can raise or lower, but you probably want to do it with this surface here. So like if let's break this off and we'll just delete this one. And we bring that down. Actually, no. Let's just keep this as its own face. What is going on? Oh, there we go. I'm like, why is it? Oh. I'm like, why is it acting so funny? Uh-oh. Dude, I'm still running into problems. There we go. So you can take that edge and actually move it around, right? And this is another way to break up those edges. Let me just... Since like instantly you're getting a bit more breakup, and that just kills those straight lines that you normally are seeing. See, now with these lower, you can actually take this and go lower as well. I need to lower this one also. So this is like lots of little fudging to kind of break it up. And now you can see how like weak this side is without a bevel. But yeah, hopefully that helps you, because you just want to like, you want to take care of those laser lines. Yeah, I can look at your... Okay, so if we go back and go to your blog. See these details here? These are really nice, but make sure that you're watching out for evenly displaced detail. Because like this starts to turn into a pattern and then your eyes catch on to that and then it breaks. Also, with how dark the grimy, drippy stuff happens here, you want to be careful with like how dark that becomes. Like this range and this range is probably a little better. Dang, that's hella creepy for some reason. I guess because it's a partial scan. This is nice lighting. You maybe want like a matte here to show that like you go up to that. Geometry wise, this is pretty simple. It's hard to make something like this look good in 3D because it'll just look like geometry, right? But yeah, again, with the edges here, don't be afraid to bevel. If you bevel enough, you can weight all of your faces with weighted normals, and then you won't even have to bake normals, right? But yeah, it looks like you got a kitchen here too. Oh, nice. Dude, that's so funny. That material looks pretty nice. With these tiles, make sure that you're adding like space for the grout, and or like maybe some aging, so that it's not so clean and smooth. And it looks like it's actually not all that smooth. These tiles are really smooth, so like be careful with adding normal information on there. But yeah. And then maybe like if you want to keep this photo, I'd see if you can get a closer picture of you or like zoom in on it. That way you don't look so tiny. But yeah, I would remove these two. You could leave that one for now, but I would definitely like it's about looking at your materials and really understanding PBR and saturation of value in your albedos. And then also the modeling, like I was talking about. Kevin, yes, I do. Let's talk about that now. But is that, George, is that you good? Do you have any other questions? Yeah, you good? All right. Kevin, there can only be one Kevin.